Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my Busch Gardens of Williamsburg recreation. Last episode we showed our progress into Germany, building some of the major buildings over here, a couple little rides as well. Today we're making some more progress in this area, starting a lot of major work on the Oktoberfest section of the park. I guess first thing, we've made some headway on Dark Coaster, getting some of this show building, station building put together. Not quite done with it yet. I still have a lot of work to do making the edges of the building here, figuring out how I want to do that. I am doing a little bit of detailing inside the building, something I normally don't do. I found some good photos of what it looks like inside. It didn't seem like it would be too difficult to just throw together a little bit of detail just for fun. A little bit of evac catwalk, and there's some lines on the ground to, like, I guess tell you where to go if you have to evac. And there's some storage track back here as well. Obviously it's still very rough. I want to do some more detailing on this. Obviously we're going to put a roof on it, add some more textures and things. The front of it's turning out okay. I've struggled a lot with the main castle decor that you have at the front gate. It's a pretty large castle structure. It's basically the same as this castle tower piece, just scaled up a little bit. And I was struggling with coming up with ways to make it look a little bit more intimidating, a little bit bulkier. So we have it surrounded by some of these smaller tower pieces, and then I'm using some of these stone blocks from the Egyptian set to kind of bulk up the base a little bit. And that's why it is tan instead of gray. The gray would match the rest of the station building here, but if I use the beige, then we can use these Egyptian ruin pieces to add some extra rock work over here, which these don't come in a gray color in no custom scenery objects. So we gotta do the whole thing in beige. And it does help it stand out a little bit from the show building anyway. So I think that's a compromise that kind of worked out. Hopefully once we get the rest of the building put together and add a little bit more decoration to the pathing over here, it'll be a little bit more obvious what's going on. It'll look a little bit cleaner. So we're making progress on that though, so it will happen. We've also added a couple more rides to this area. We've got our classic wave swinger. I think this is exactly the same sort of wave swinger design and build I did for Dorney. Same chairlift cars, same spiral slide, same wooden coaster helix used for the topper with the Enterprise on top to get it with that little bit of a tilted look. I think I'm even doing the same exact foliage and steeplechase fence surrounding it. Thought it looked pretty good in Dorney. Why reinvent the wheel? Doing it again here. I think it looks pretty good. Not totally sold on the curb here. I've been playing around with doing some different curb designs in this build. I haven't talked about that much yet because curb is not particularly exciting, but there are some places where I have used some curved curbs. For instance, right here in Scotland, these pieces are, instead of copying and pasting bits of diagonal track, these are just curves. And one of the benefits of this is that you can build from them because they're full pieces. They aren't parts of pieces like with the usual copy paste strategy that I do. It's kind of hard to explain, but since they're full pieces, you can build off of them with a construction window, which makes them faster to put together, easier to tweak. And since they have kind of a rounder shape to them, it feels a little bit more flexible and organic when putting together some curvy paths and diagonal paths. So that might be something to explore a little bit over here for the wave swinger. Not that I mind the kind of angular octagonal look for this plot right here. It does help it, look a little bit distinct, but maybe I want it to be more consistent. I don't know. Something to play around with. A couple other small rides over here. We have another tiny spinning ride. There's a whole bunch of these in Busch Gardens. It turns out they're just spread all over the place instead of all being concentrated in one kiddie area, which is probably a good thing. It's definitely more interesting from an RCT point of view. Behind that, we've got the Autobahn, which is not one, but two different bumper cars. There is the regular Autobahn and a junior Autobahn, which is a kiddie scale bumper car. Of course, in RCT, you only got one size bumper cars, so they are exactly the same thing. This one just looks a little bit bigger because I've added some more scenery pieces to the outside here. These are not actually functional ride pieces, and the cars won't ever go over there, but it looks a little bit bigger, so that's really what matters. Especially when you get the roof on it, you can't really see a whole lot inside here anyway. So I think it looks pretty decent. And lastly, you started working a little bit on the footprint for Fest House. Obviously, I haven't done any actual work on this yet except putting together where the entranceway is going to go. There's some stairs up to a balcony up here. So I'm starting to think about what the shape of this is going to look like, how this is going to fit in. So we'll be working on that here pretty soon, I think. But that's about all there is to talk about today. Not a ton of important builds, I suppose. But as always, doing some planning, doing some path shaping, doing some building design, figuring out where things are going, all of that is very important into getting a functional park. Pretty happy with things so far. As you can see, Verbolten has been completely destroyed. The rough draft I had in here is no more because we're going to be building that one next, getting that put in here in the correct spot. Looking forward to that a whole lot. Verbolten is a pretty sweet ride. It was pretty fun to do the draft, and I'm excited to do the real version of it here. But we'll be looking at that here shortly. But in the meantime, hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.